Player 1. Time. Player 2. Level 1.
Good evening. It is Monday. It is just gone 8 o'clock. It's time for Retro Gaming Revival presents the Total Evercade Podcast. Oh gosh, I can't believe episode 30. Every time I see the episode number, there's a little part of me that loses my breath a bit. Episode 38. 38.
It's mad, isn't it?
It is madness. Absolute madness. We have got a packed show this evening, an absolutely packed show with a packed panel. So let's get straight to it. Let's go straight round, see who's here, and then we will get going. So we've got with us Mr. Ryan.
Hello. I've realised I'm in the wrong place this evening because usually Blunners next to you, isn't it? So I'm going to slide him over. So I'm never asked the question first. So I'm going to slide myself over. But yeah, I am in a very good mood. You could say a bit loony today because I've got things going on. But yeah, very good, very happy. Olympics going very well for Team GB at the moment as well. So yeah,
good start.
Looking forward to chatting Evercade this evening.
Fantastic. And you're not going on holiday tomorrow, are you?
I may well be,
Yeah,
and the football shirt may be a little clue.
Yeah, if you hadn't have told me who the football team was, I wouldn't have guessed.
No, let's see if anyone in the chat can guess. There's no prize for it, but let's see if they can guess.
We have also got Mr. Blunners.
Yeah, hello everyone. I've done my usual. I've done my gift, and the membership has gone to Tales from the Junland Waste. So you've got a free month's membership on me. So enjoy it.
Enjoy, my friend. We have got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Derek, Sir Top and Hat. How are you, good sir?
Yeah, good evening. Great to be here. I'm loving the dartboard in the back of Blunner's room there. Yeah, very nice little touch. So yeah, awesome. So yeah, it's great to see that.
Yes, good stuff. We'll get that incorporated into something soon, I'm sure. And then we have our guest of honor this evening. We have got Mr. Phil from the Retro Titans podcast. Good evening, Phil, and how are you?
Oh, very well, thank you. One of you's the odd one out because you haven't been on Retro Titans yet. So
Yeah,
we'll
me.
get you in sometime soon, Blunners. But yeah, good to see you all again.
Lovely. It's lovely to have you, my friend. Lovely to have you. There's a lot of people in the chat already. We can whiz through as many as we can. We'll apologize in advance if we don't get to you. But we have got Mr. Toxo. Good evening. It's wonderful to see you. Mr. Vernon Couchman. Always good to see you. Andy Davidson. Disa Auckland. Wonderful to see you too. Mr. Nick Craddock. Hello. Mr. Andy, how are you? Good, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Timbo, I hope you are good, dude. Jack Couchman, Mark M. We have got a lot of people in here. Good evening to you, Mr. Colin Brown. Good evening, Colin. James Barker.
Hello.
There's a lot of people here. A lot of people. Mr. Taylor. Always better for seeing you, my good man. Retro Dean. Mark. Mr. Mark from Evercade Evolution. Good evening, Mark. Warren, hello. I hope you are well. Mr. Brian Tussle, I hope you are keeping good too. Stephen Potter, there's lots of names here I've not seen for a little while, if not for a long time. Mr. Archive, I hope you are good as well. Simple DG, hope you're good as well. Keith Little, dude, so many people. Sarah, she's upstairs. Hello, Pickle. Is that My Tech or MI Tech? Either way, good evening. Kieran Fletcher, always good to see you. I'm only 40. Yeah, there you go. Ziggy, always good to see you. Timothy Earnshaw. We still haven't even gotten to like the most recent comments. This is mad. There's lots of people here. We could go down. We could keep going, but we're going to end up spending the first 10 minutes saying everybody's name. but welcome everybody. You are all very, very welcome. Thank you for joining us live. And yeah, just get chatting in the chat, get joining in with everything we talk about. We're always looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say. So yeah, let's get cracking with the first topic, which is, as always, what are you playing? So, Mr. Blunners, what are you playing at the moment?
So, I don't know if anyone has noticed, but I have recently picked up the 8-bit Dough arcade stick, which is right here, as I've not been like champion it on the channel. But yeah, so I've been playing my VS on it. So the game I actually had in there at the time was Indie Heroes 1. So I've been playing a lot of Indie Heroes 1 actually. I haven't actually played in a while, and yeah, I was actually really enjoying playing Foxyland. Just hadn't played it for so long, but I was playing it with the arcade stick. So yeah, before you knew it, I then finished that off. Then I played a bit of Doodle World on it. It was all right. Didn't really work as much as I wanted. Alien to Cat as well when playing. But yeah, mainly it was just I've been doing a lot of testing and trying to muck around with this 8-bit arcade stick. But for some reason, I was just drawn to Foxyland, and I just remember having it when I first got the game. I only played it for a little bit and never really went back to it. But I actually really enjoyed it with the arcade stick. It was actually quite enjoyable, doing the old double jumps and everything on it. So yeah, really, that's what I've been playing and really enjoyed it at the minute.
Excellent. And Mr. Ryan, what have you been playing lately?
Yeah, I'm really not copying Blunners, and I feel like he's read my script this evening, but I've also been playing Indie Heroes 1. So now everyone's going to think I've just basically copied what he said. But no, I went back.
Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, I have. I went back and played Flea. I thought I'd give Flea another crack because obviously it's one of people's favourite game on the Evercade, and I think it's still as good now as it was when I played it first time 3 years ago.
Yep.
So yeah, really, really fun. I also fired up Quest Arrest because I never quite finished that, and I loaded up my save state and I was a little bit confused where I was, so I kind of gave up on it. But what I did realise with that game, graphically, it's quite nice. Reminds me of what's it called, Pokemon, that kind of graphics. Not as not as polished as Pokemon, but John Rue's done a nice job with it. But the sound track on that game is just it's horrid to your ears after a while. It's just on a loop, the same music over and over and over and over again. Be nice for a little variation every now and again. So yeah, that's really what I've been playing. A little bit of Sensi as always, but yeah, that's pretty much it with my Evercade last couple of weeks. I've been very into Broforce on my Steam Deck, so it's taking a lot of my attention away, and I'm sure when you speak to Sir Toppin Hat in a minute, he may say something very similar.
Okay. In that case, it'll segue nicely onto Mr. Derek. What have you been playing? Oh, you're on mute, Derek, or we certainly can't hear you.
Apologies there. Yep, massive shout out to PSCD Games, responsible, of course, for Foxyland. It is a cracking game, and yeah, Blunners is absolutely right. It's a great platformer, and it's fun to try and find all the cherries as well as complete it. So yeah, it's definitely worth anybody's time in the chat that hasn't tried that one out. Yeah, as you mentioned, Quest Arrest, brilliant game again. Back when I played it through originally, I think you could only get one of the endings, so either just a good ending or the bad ending, one of the two. But that's been fixed since. So if people haven't been back through it and seen the alternate ending, that's another opportunity for people to really dig in and try out. Other than myself, I'm pretty much actually started back at cartridge 1, and I'm working my way through at the moment. About 3/4 of the way through now, but I've been just trying to pick out ones I haven't particularly targeted in the past and sort of dig in a little bit deeper. So rather than going back to old favorites like Asteroids and trying to beat my high scores, I've just been looking in there and seeing ones that perhaps I haven't given much love to, or perhaps for some reason it put me off, or perhaps I beat it on an alternate character. So yeah, really just starting from cartridge 1 and right the way back through. So yeah, I've got quite the slog on at the moment. But as Ryan said, I mean, Broforce has taken the nation by storm, and obviously I've literally today just beaten it. But yeah, there's so much still to do. I want to go through on the Rock Hard campaign and see it all and discover every bro. So yeah, fantastic little game. But yeah, that is stealing a lot of attention at the moment. So yeah, otherwise, yeah, a fantastic gaming week.
Splendid. It sounds like everyone's got a lot going on, which is great. And Mr. Phil, what have you been playing, my friend?
I have been playing a combination of Boulder Dash and Duke Nukem 2. So Boulder Dash, well, got C64 Collection 3 a little while ago and managed to snag an interview with the designer of the game, the original designer of the game, Peter Lupa, and thought I better play my way through it in case he tells me something about it that might reveal my ignorance. And it is a brilliant game that still holds up. 40 years ago it was made. And I think the gameplay on it is comparable to anything out there today. It's a great little game. And Duke Nukem 2 is just one of those, and one, you can just pick it up and play it. And, you know, it's a kind of, you can do a couple of levels before you go to bed, that sort of thing. And it's just, you know, wall-to-wall fun, really. I don't know what it is about that game that makes it so fun, but it's good.
Excellent. I've definitely been neglecting my Evercade lately. There's just, I've been addicted to Cult of the Lamb at the moment, which is just taking up all my time. I'm afraid I've got to make sure I'm adding other animals to my cult. I've got to make sure that I'm slaying those demons and preaching all of those demonic sermons in my cult. So yeah, that's taken up a lot of my time at the moment. But I am imminently about to start Duke Nukem 2, which I'm very, very excited about. I can see in the chat there's lots of people playing some really good bits. I know Sarah's been playing a lot of Marvel Rivals. She got one of those demo codes for that. She's been enjoying that. We have got C-Mig saying she wants to be going back over Crash Bandicoot. I couldn't agree more. Do like a bit of Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, and yeah, Tim's recently joined the Steam Deck community, so he's all over that. And Stephen Mulhern, always good to hear you about your Butlins trips. So wonderful. So let us segue nicely into the first topic.
Oh, whoa! You've jumped the gun a bit there. Latest news.
Latest news.
Which I don't think there is any necessarily that we're not going to cover. But I thought now, members of the Evercade Hangout would have seen that we've been running the Evercade World Cup over the last few weeks now, and we're going to be doing the draw for the third round later this evening. But we've only got 9 teams, and obviously we need 10. So I thought now would be an excellent time to do the wild card draw for the team. So from the other cartridges, this cartridge will make it through to the third round. So I'm just going to load up a little spinny wheel thing. So let me know when you can see this.
And yes.
Oh, wow.
So can you see that?
Yeah, good grief. What the hell is that? Does that all say in television too?
No, one of them says the panel's choice. So I'm going to spin it now.
So other than that one, is it all in television too?
And the wild card is I've done this fairly.
Oh!
Television
Everyone's
2.
the winner.
A legend.
Right. Favorite.
So they will be going into the draw later today. There was only a 99 and 100 chance that they were going to get through then. So congratulations in television 2.
I haven't got that card. Am I missing anything?
Ooh.
Ryan's favourite.
I don't really know what to say.
If you like in television, I think there is a few things to enjoy from it. That's the diplomatic answer.
Yeah.
It's Ryan's favourite card.
Yeah, it was
absolute favourite.
Nick C, who's in the chat tonight, he actually got that for me for my birthday present last year, and it's one of my. I will never forget that present. So in a way, it was an excellent gift.
True. Yes, I don't think you will ever forget it. It was quite a moment. quite a moment. I remember you unwrapping it and the joy in your eyes as you saw those words in Television 2. It was, it was a moment.
I knew it was
caught it on camera.
As soon as he handed it to me, and I knew it was the shape of an Evercade cartridge, I knew it was in Television 2.
Beautiful. So there we go. And Television 2 has made it to the next round, which is, as Nick C says, memorable. We'll run with that. That is memorable. Right. Am I okay to jump to the next topic? Okay. I'm getting the nod from Ryan there. So the next topic is we're going to talk a little bit about Phil's podcast, which is the Retro Titans podcast. Phil, tell us about Retro Titans.
Well, I see a few. We've got still some more guests in the audience here today, and there's lots of people who very kindly comment on the Evercade Hangout and various other socials. So I think most of the people here knows what Retro Titans is. But if you don't, it's a podcast dedicated to Evercade. It's audio only, so if you're a guest, you can scratch your nose or turn up in your pants, and nobody will know. And it's all about Evercade, basically, whether you're a YouTuber, whether you're make games on Evercade, whether you work for Blaze. We just get all kinds of guests in to talk about their love affair with it, the good, the bad, the ugly, the things they'd like to see. We have a Desert Island Carts feature, which is probably the fan favorite, where people get to pick their 3 favorite carts that they would take to a desert island, and also their device and choice of music. So based on a popular radio show. So yeah, we do it. I was doing it weekly, and due to kind of everything else that's going on in my life, it's more like a fortnightly thing now. So that's probably what it'll be going forwards.
Excellent. It's a very enjoyable podcast. I've had the pleasure of being asked to be on that. I know Ryan has as well, and so has Derek. It was a lot of fun to record. It's a lot of fun to listen to. So yeah, people in the chat, if you're not already on the Retro Titans podcast, you need to be clicking those buttons and making sure you're listening to it, because it is really good fun. Other than obviously our wonderful faces that you've had on the podcast, what other guests have you had on so far?
Well, we've had Andy C here, who's I've noticed in the chat. We've had, who have I got coming up? We've got Mean Machine Dean is the next one. I'm just about to start editing. He's a regular on your show. Peter Looper, who's going to be on the one after that, which might be first one back from the break. A Crazy Burger, who I started with, and he's a kind of semi-regular guest on the show as well. So yeah, that's just a little bit of a flavour of some of the guests we've had. Yeah,
I look forward to the Mean Machine Dean one. He's we got a lot of love for Dean over here in this channel. He's always funny.
Yeah, no, it was good value. Gave me a lot of material to wade my way through on the editing front. But yeah, it should be a nice episode.
Yeah, that it does. You can tell he's, as Ryan likes to call them, twitchers, people that talk to the camera a lot. And yeah, good stuff. Excellent. So yes, people, jump on the Retro Titans podcast, because it's really good fun.
I have got a couple more questions for Phil before you move on.
Oh yes, because we could throw Phil in the hot seat tonight, can't we?
Exactly.
As opposed to him asking us questions. So let's go, Ryan. Let's go.
So what made you decide to do a podcast on Evercade?
Because I bought. The honest answer is I bought them, and it didn't go down that well in the household. So I thought I'll make it into a kind of businessy thing, and I'll make a podcast out of it, and then it'll become a hobby beyond that, and it'll justify my cart expenditures. That's the actual real answer. I've wanted to do a podcast for a while and been looking for a topic to do it on, and I got the Super Pocket over Christmas time. Loved it. Bought another one, and then started buying a few carts. And I wrote to Blaze actually, and said to them, I'm going to do a podcast and explain what it was all going to be about, and thought they're going to love this. And I got nothing back in response. They just completely ignored me, which now I realize isn't that unusual. But
we know all about being ignored.
Yeah, we know.
I know. Well, and then I made an episode. I thought, well, if I make one, I bet they get loads of people saying that they're going to do stuff, and maybe they thought I was after freebies. and I'll share that with them. And it was still crickets. So eventually, I think it was the Full Void episode that we did, and Sean got back to me. So episode 4. So it took a little while. But they are avid listeners and supporters of the show, and I hope to get them back on in September as well. Sean's been on, so got there in the end with them. But it's obviously something we're going to keep plugging away at.
Excellent. And who's been? This is really putting you on the spot here, because you've got three people here who you've had on the show. But who was your favourite guest that you've had on so far?
Well, I'm not going to say out of you three. I mean, that's just that's just unfair. Obviously, I have to give thanks to Derek with the Topham hat, because he was only episode 2. So at that point, we only had the crazy. I don't think I'd even finished the Crazy Burger episode when I reached out to you, Derek, and you said yes willingly, without me putting a gun to your head. So thank you for that. And I think it's easier to get guests now we've done a few episodes, because people can see what it's all about. But yeah, I enjoy all of them. I think the type of guest I actually like the most is probably the developer ones, because I think that gives me an insight into a world that, I don't really understand. I don't know very much about, but I'm quite interested in where people get their inspiration for creativity, how they come up with ideas, how they problem solve and stuff like that. So I do enjoy the developer ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see why that would be a really interesting. From a gamer's perspective, more than anything, it's always great to hear how people have created something and, like you say, their inspiration. So yeah, I couldn't agree more with that.
And who would be your dream guest?
Well, obviously Blunners, because he's not been on the show yet. So
right answer.
I think it would be Blunners. But yeah, I'd also like to do more developer ones. John Hare, Sensible Soccer creator. I think he might be persuadable. Is it Dino Dini? Kickoff? Some of those type ones. They're obviously not on Evercade, but yeah, I think more developer ones plus Blunners, and I'll be happy.
We've had Dino Dini on, haven't we?
Yeah, and we've had Stu Cambridge from Sensible Soccer, so we might be able to point you in the right direction.
Help you on that front.
Yeah, there's a lot of the developer ones. I can't remember the names of the guys. Collier or something did Championship Manager. Would be good. I wasted so many hours on that game as well.
That'd be brilliant.
I'm not allowed to play that game anymore.
I don't think I should either. Yeah, it took over my life.
Shocker.
And what are the plans for the show moving forward? So obviously you've got the podcast now. Are you looking to branch out into other social media platforms like YouTube?
No, I'm going to stick to audio only. Sometimes we put out some little video snippets just to kind of act as teasers to get people interested in it. But yeah, audio only, which is obviously it's quite hard to monetize. But I think it's kind of just do like stick to your knitting. I think if you can find a niche and stick to that rather than try to sort of be all things to all people. So carry on with audio, do more developer interviews. I think I'll stick to it being Evercade only for a while, but possibly, it might branch out into some other things in the future. We'll see what kind of involvement Blaze have with the show. I think if they weren't that active at all in it, then I'll probably run out of guests eventually. So I'd have to try some other stuff. But I've only done 20 episodes or something, so there's still a lot of road ahead.
Beautiful,
excellent.
How was it asking questions, Ryan?
That is it. That is all my questions. Right. Sorry, I was distracted then because my Alexa illuminated in the background, and I thought I didn't say the word Alexa, and now it's talking to me. So I'm going to go on mute for a minute and just hand back to Ollie to carry on.
Ryan's now just going to verbally abuse his Alexa. Alexa. I might just have to randomly say that every now and then throughout the show. Now we know.
My wife's called Alexis, so work that one out, mate. Constantly goes off. Yeah.
Just change the name of it. You can.
Yeah. Well, just to wind her up, so I can't.
Oh, okay. I bet that never gets old.
So we will get to the Super Pocket giveaway. That will be a little bit later on in the show. Thank you everyone that has entered that over on the Hangout. There has been a lot of entries, which is absolutely incredible to see. Just make sure you're in the chat when we come to do that. And yes, you could be in with the chance of winning the Super Pocket of your choice, which is very exciting. Okay, so first topic of this evening is a cart that was announced quite recently, last week, I believe. And that is Bitmap Brothers 2 preview. So what I should have done is actually load up all the games that are actually on Bitmap 2, unless somebody has that already. Although, to be fair, I could probably just ask Derek. He seems to always know. Blunners is on it. And we'll give it a little share if we can, then we can see all the various goodness that that we've got coming along. Here we go. As if by magic, there we go. Bitmap Brothers 2. And for those eagle-eyed people out there who have been collecting the various Evercade carts, you will also notice that the Bitmap 2 is a blue cart as opposed to the red, which Collection 1 is one of the original red carts. So let's go to Blunners first. Blunners, impressions of Bitmap Brothers 2 collections so far. What do you think?
Yeah, I won't go too mad on it because I normally like it when Derek goes into depth on all of it. So so mainly for me, I was so happy to see Magic Pockets. I remember playing this as a kid, so for me it's day one anyway. Just from seeing that game on there. Gods is another thing. I vaguely remember playing, but yeah, I was a bit surprised, and then I went back and I was doing some editing, and I remember when Derek was doing a little tease for us, and I think this was the cart he was teasing. So yeah, so then I was like, oh, now it comes together. But yeah, I would have liked it to be maybe a couple more games, 6 games, but I'm just hoping that well, for me, Magic Pockets will keep you hopefully it's not as rock hard as I remember it was. It took you a while to get going, but
of course it's going to be.
The music on it is phenomenal. But yeah, but with save states, it might be a bit better. But yeah, I don't want to go too into depth because Derek does it the best. So for me, it's a day one purchase.
Excellent. And Ryan, Bitmap 2, is this one ticking some boxes for you?
Yeah, I think the games look nice graphically. I don't know huge amounts about them, to be honest. Gods and Magic Pockets I've heard of before, and obviously Chaos Engine 2, because we've had the previous game on the Bitmap Brothers Collection 1. What I would say is for people not to get confused between Bitmap Brothers and Bitmap Bureau, who've made Xenocrisis, because I know there's been a little bit of confusion with that. People were getting excited about, what's the Bitmap Bureau game that everyone likes, the fighting
Final
one?
Vendetta.
Yeah, a few people, because we got this, it's like, oh, we might get Final Vendetta, but that's a different company altogether. So yeah, I think it's all right. I would have liked to have seen Amiga Speedball on there, Speedball 2, the Amiga version, because I think that's the best version of the game. So it's a little bit disappointed they couldn't have squeezed that on there. But maybe it might be a hidden game when you put in both Bitmap collections, because Blaze do like to give us a little hidden game every now and again. It is a collection that I probably will pick up, and something that I don't know if you've noticed or anyone else has noticed, they're not all home computer games. I believe one of them is a PlayStation game. I don't know which one. Is it Zed? Yeah, I believe that's a PlayStation game. So they've slipped that into the home computer cartridge, but it's not the end of the world, is it? And if it plays better on PlayStation, then what's the problem?
Yep. Phil, is this a collection you're excited for?
I would say curious rather than excited. They're not games that I remember playing, if I'm honest. I think the Cadaver looks quite good and Zed looks quite interesting. I think it's a bit different to the other stuff we've seen on the Evercade platform. I didn't know it was a PS game, actually, because it looks like the sort of game that you'd benefit from a mouse. But it'd be nice if we had that kind of peripheral available and saw more of these kind of games. That would be cool. But yeah, I think curious. I would give it.
Curious. I like that. I could run with curious. Before I hand over to Derek, because Derek will obviously have a lot more knowledge on all of these. Again, not having an Amiga growing up, some of these are not games that I vividly recognize, other than Gods, which is correct me if I'm wrong, Derek. Is this the Amiga version of the game that is also on the Mega Drive?
Yeah, Gods is on the Mega Drive as well. Yep, that is something.
So I do remember the Mega Drive version. I remember enjoying it a lot. I'm in the minority where I'm not a fan of the Mega Drive sound engine, so I'm quite looking forward to hearing the soundtrack of Gods on this version. Much like you, Phil, I think Cadaver looks kind of interesting, and the payoff also, which is I'm presuming is the second of the Cadaver games. That does look. It just looks really cool. It looks like it's from that era, that sort of Dungeons and Dragons, late 80s, early 90s era. It just looks cool. I'm kind of interested. And then Blunners has talked about Magic Pockets before, so I'm kind of excited for this one. There was a little part of me that was glad there was no Speedball on this one, because Speedball was just all over that last card. I don't think I could do another Speedball game. But there we are. So Derek, hit us with it. Bitmap Brothers 2.
Yeah, I mean, this is really where we all hoped Collection 1 would have been. But at least, it's better late than never. Cadaver is obviously what I'm looking forward to most. I played all these games pretty much growing up. So, yeah, it's a fantastic game. I will just say that actually on the Amiga Mini, it doesn't control too well. So I'm hoping on Evercade, that's going to be slightly improved. Again, though, just mentioning that Amiga Mini, obviously this came out in between the original Bitmap 1 and Collection 2. So a large amount of people, not myself, but a large amount of people picked those up. I know a lot of my friends did. And I've actually played, and in, for instance, Gods, for instance, I've already beaten on the Amiga Mini. But yeah, excellent games. Obviously, there's Magic Pockets. We all remember the kids' TV show Going Live. Well, this used to feature on there, didn't it? And used to ring in and say left, right, jump, fire. And we all used to stay glued to our screens to see how far a contender would get, which was not very far at all. In fact, I don't think many people ever made it off level 1. But yeah, myself, I did. There's obviously bubble gum machines you can get hold of. You can blow a bubble and float. Obviously, there's Betty Boop's Doing the Do song playing throughout it, which was massively remembered as part of that game. So, yeah, there's certainly a lot to look forward to with this collection. It's certainly one of the better ones Blaze has pulled out the hat in recent times, I would say. And, yeah, as I say, a lot to look forward to, really, with this collection. So yeah, I don't want to spoil things for people too much, but yeah, as I say, for myself, Cadaver is obviously the big one, because they've managed to put in that extension one as well, the payoff. So yeah, I mean, that should be fantastic, and it'll just be nice to have it handheld, really. These days I do a lot of my gaming handheld, apart from obviously Tomb Raider that I beat on the original PS1 this week. Obviously I did that on the TV, and it did make me think actually it would be pretty awesome on the Evercade Versus. So if you do own an Evercade Versus, do try that Tomb Raider that way, because I think you'll enjoy it more. But yeah, getting back to obviously Bitmap Brothers 2, fantastic, and yeah, very, very exciting to get hold of that one later this year.
Yeah, there's a lot of love for it in the chat as well. Lots of people sort of agreeing with you, Derek. This kind of feels like the one that we didn't get the first time.
Yeah,
and yeah, there's a lot of people picking up on Going Live, mate, as well. Good grief, I think for some people that's a core memory unlocked again.
Yeah, we won't ask him to have Philip Schofield on, so you're all right for Retro Titans.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't.
I was just thinking about how you could replicate that feature on the show. I think you might drive down your viewers if you ask people to control it via the power of chat.
Well, I don't know. We've managed
to be glued to it.
We've managed to get Timmy's tanks working in
Timmy's
on our
what?
uncensored Timmy's Tanks. It's a
Oh,
feature that we've got on our uncensored show where
Right.
we verse the chat, and that kind of works. So yeah, we
Okay.
could do chat plays something, and see if we can do that. We'll give that some thought. Maybe we'll maybe dedicate half an episode to it, see how far we can get.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
bit
Yeah,
of fun, wouldn't
it was Twitch plays Pokemon. That was a whole thing, wasn't it? It was and they managed to complete Pokemon Yellow just by typing in the chat what was going to
Okay.
happen. It took
That's
a
pretty
long
cool.
time, but it was there was hundreds of thousands of people watching that.
Jeez.
But yes, let's not get Phil Schofield on. We've had controversial guests on in the past. Let's not totally shoot ourselves in the foot with this one.
Just to say, of course, I believe Chaos Engine rules well over Chaos Engine 2. So if you have got the original collection and you're playing Chaos Engine, I consider that to be the better of the two. I don't really go for the whole split screen, either the computer controlled or a player 2, obviously depending on if you've got the verses. But yeah, definitely go for the original Chaos Engine because that is the masterclass.
There we go. You've heard it from the man himself. Okay. Was there anything anybody wanted to throw in on the Duck?
Yeah.
God, that's another core memory unlocked. Good grief. They're all
It is,
out
yeah. I used to
now.
have the game on the Commodore 64. I've actually beaten it. Yeah, collecting the stars. Yeah.
Good grief. Ed the Duck. Christ. There's so many things. Every now and then someone will say something and you're like, oh yeah, that existed. I haven't thought about that probably since childhood.
Well, our childhood was CBBC in the
Yep.
broom cupboard, followed by Neighbours, wasn't it? That was my childhood.
Yep. That in the broom cupboard with Gordon the Gopher.
Yep, and Andy Peters and various other people.
Andy Peters.
What was that Gilbert that kept snotting in all the toilet tissue? Remember that? What was that Gilbert? Remember him? Oh no!
Very, very
him.
vaguely. Do you know? I will go on to the while we're totally off topic, and onto the topic of nostalgia. We will bring it back on track. I promise. This is a memory which, for years, I thought I'd made up because nobody else remembered it, and then I managed to. Someone finally uploaded an episode of it to YouTube, and the memories, it all flooded back. I was very validated in that I wasn't going mad. In that there was a TV show called Pie in the Sky. Not the show that everybody thinks of, but it was about a pie shop that communicated with a floating pie in space. And everyone for years thought I was absolutely mental. And then someone uploaded it to YouTube and my brain was validated. So there we are. If anyone remembers Pie in the Sky, dive on that. See if you can have that unlocked as your core memory. Anyway, enough unlocking of core memories. Let's jump on to Evercade Media Day and what we learned. So, how are we going to kick off Evercade Media Day?
Well, I think Phil's went, so he'd be best placed to talk about it.
He did.
What I learned was we weren't on the guest list. That's what I learned.
38 episodes in. We'll get there.
If your name's not Dave, you're not coming in.
Yeah, but no, I joke obviously. But Phil, how was the Evercade Media Day, and how did you come about being invited, etc.?
Yeah, I was running off to stop my dog from barking at squirrels just now, not to avoid questions about the Evercade Media Day. So, in case you were worried, I wasn't.
No worries.
Sitting uncomfortably in my seat. Evercade Media Day. I don't think they should have called it a media day. I think it was probably over egging the pudding a bit. Maybe they should have called it a VIP day or something. Basically, I got an email the Friday before. It was on the 4th of July, which there was something else going on that day, I seem to remember. But they decided to do it then. And essentially it was an opportunity for them to have a few magazines, a few testers, a few people that had, like John Crazy Burger. I think they built it around his visit, to be honest. He was coming down to visit the offices, and they decided to invite a few other people along, and I got a last minute invite. And yeah, I could only do a couple of hours there because I obviously, with only a few days' notice, didn't really have time to rearrange all my work stuff around it. But yeah, got to visit the offices, saw the kit, the new stuff that's coming out. I mean, we did the podcast on it. The alpha is really cool, and got to test the new Super Pockets and stuff like that. Meet some other people, hear a bit from Blaze. But yeah, that's essentially what it is. I mean, what else would you like to know? I mean, what haven't I covered in the podcast that you'd want to know about it?
I mean, I must admit, I am itching to know about the size. Oh, it's Mr. Ali, 16 bits and bobs there, keeping you all in suspense with the word size. How is the alpha in person?
I was impressed. I went into it thinking I could see why there's a market for it, particularly in the US, but there's no way I'm going to buy one of these. I was concerned it'd be a bit too small because I'd seen some other of these sort of small bar top devices and thought it seems like a small screen for a big piece of kit. So I wasn't going in there expecting to like it, but it was a pre-production model as well, so everything wasn't finished off on it. But it is pretty cool. The screen's quite crisp, and I think you could, it works in multiple angles. I think you could play a mate on it quite happily rather than it sort of taking up all the space yourself. You can plug in a couple of controllers so you don't have to have somebody hovering over the screen. So I thought it was good quality. I think for arcade games, it'd be amazing. They've obviously got a joystick rather than the kinds of things that we've had to control it on. And I know you can add your peripherals on like your arcade sticks, but if you haven't got one of those, and it looks good. I think for collectors of these things, it is still expensive. I still don't think I'll buy one because it's a lot of money. But I think for the people that are into this stuff, it does look like the quality. I think my concerns over it would be, I think this is something for Blaze generally, is are they yet again overstretching themselves a bit? Because it's a nice piece of kit, but not every item, not every unit going out of production is going to be perfect. There's going to be problems with it. So they've got to deal with returns and they've got to deal with distribution. So they've got a whole new bunch of other problems to sort out, as well as the stuff that they're still trying to sort out about games needed updating, brick carts and all the rest of it. So for a small company, it feels like they're overstretching themselves, but the device is cool.
Okay, because I think the main concern that all of us had is the size, because we saw the advert, we saw the sort of sizzle reel when it came out, and it had me sold until the price came up, and then it was like, I don't know if I can drop that on it straight away, even though the Street Fighter Alpha 1, 2, 3, that would be cool as hell, so hearing all the positivity about it from the media day is changing my mind, and it's gone from something which I think is just a really cool product that maybe I'll get, to something that I'm genuinely quite interested in. I might not pick it up at launch. It might be something that I'll pick up a little bit later. Maybe let the first couple of units come out, see if there are any teething problems. But ultimately, I think I'm glad it's getting the positive reviews. I really am. I'm glad it's not a very tiny sort of desktop thing. I'm glad it's got a bit of size to it. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Blunners, any takes from anything you've seen on the media day at all? Or any questions? We can ask Phil questions.
I'm saying, it was just good to see, like, actually see it. I want to obviously want to have a go in real life, but no, it's like you're saying. I've listened to your podcast on it, and we have it. Like a lot of the questions were answered. I was just like you were saying, Ollie. I just think the price point's just a bit too steep. I would have preferred to just see one without any games on it, one that you can just put your own carts in, which hopefully they bring on like a Alpha -R, or whatever they like, Joey, and an Alpha R at some point, hopefully in the future. Because to be honest, I'm not really interested in the games they've got on there. I'd rather put my carts in and play my games that way, if you know what I mean. Which you can do anyway. But would that have brought, by taking that license?
Yeah, I've tried to sort of pin Sean down a little bit. on the pricing side and try and work out how much of a percentage of the cost of a unit of something is taken up by licensing. And it doesn't give a straight answer, not surprisingly. But what you're talking about knocking off, what would it need to be cheaper for you to get it? If it's 20 quid off enough, it's 30 quid, it's 40 quid, maybe not. And I think that's probably the
you think about one, because you think for that sort of price, you can buy yourself a Switch, which has got hundreds of games. But I do know that these actual arcade units aren't cheap either. So it's going to cost you money. I just think it's a bit of a niche. Like Ryan says, get it in John Lewis for Christmas. Get some people on.
It is a niche, but in America, it's a big niche, and there's a lot of people that are interested in it. And I think if you've got a mate coming round, I sound like I'm selling these things now, but if you've got a mate coming round and they see a Switch next to your telly, they're not gonna say anything, are they? Because they've got a Switch in their own house. But if they see one of these things, they're going to ask a question about it, and you're going to get it out and play it. I think that's that's the market that they're going into. But somebody asked me down there, Obsolete Worlds, whether the stick is in the way of the screen. Based on my 10-minute play, I didn't notice that was the case. It seemed to be fine on that. Nothing seemed to obscure it. It seemed to be well made ergonomically.
Yeah. I will pass to somebody else in a second, I think. But just running off of that idea of price point, I think for me, a sweet spot deal, which is, and a lot of it is psychosomatic. I absolutely appreciate this. But a sweet spot price would be $199.99 for me. I think getting it just under that 200 mark turns it from being to a there's just something about things being just under those sort of 200-y price points that I think drives people towards things. I know Sony had it when they did the PlayStation VR. The first VR, it was far too expensive, and then as soon as they dropped it to $199, they were scooting off the shelves. For me, it's just that extra 50 quid that makes the difference. But
I think they should do a discount for people like yourselves who are influenced. I mean, they should give it to you for free, but they're not going to. But they could at least do, like, for anybody that's got a voice in the community and is going to give them feedback and stuff like that, then giving a 25% discount or something, because you're going to feedback on it and give them and support it. I think the problem they've had with the marketing is that they kind of hyped it before people could see it, so then they've just given people ammunition to knock it down and say they don't want it. Whereas if they could get it into a few people's hands and then they see it and then they spread the word for them, I think once you've had a play on it, if you're a maybe, you'll be a yes. Would be my suspicion. Yeah.
Derek, what was any of your take from some of the stuff you've seen from the media day?
I don't really think I've got anything extra to add to that, really, to be honest. I think you guys are pretty much, you've covered what I would have gone over, really. As you say, I mean, the price point is, from what I've heard from a lot of people, the sticking point. But I mean, if you're going for the deluxe, there isn't a lot of give between the 200 and the 50, if you want to put it that way. That 50 is pretty much swallowed up by the Sanwa controls. Blunners recently actually bought some Sanwa controls from eBay, I think it was, and it cost him 15 quid. But I do know if you're buying them for that, it did actually cost Blaze a lot more than that. So unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of give. But I mean, they've still got that standard edition. I mean, still too expensive that I wouldn't want to add another Evercade. I've got a handheld, I've got a home console. I don't own a bar top of any description. And I do come from the arcade era, and I do love arcade gaming. I remember being invited down to Smith's Toys and giving the one-up arcade cabinet of Pac-Man a really good high score for its launch day. And that was fantastic. But I mean, if they invite me down to have a go on the Alpha, great. But I think that's probably about as close as it gets for myself. But I mean, if you're an arcade fan and you want to grab one, then all the better. But I think for me, a little bit pricey. But nonetheless, though, it's still a nice idea, but I say shipping concerns and whatnot. I'd rather Blaze concentrated on the faulty cartridges. I would rather Blaze, concentrated on getting that content on the cartridges for us. and we sort of work towards that rather than have sort of 10 different alliterations of the same thing. I appreciate if you look at the Xbox 360, you've got, R2D2 consoles and things like that. It's always nice to have a collector's edition like the Woody Super Pocket. But I think the amount of hardware we've had this year is colossus. And even super fans like myself now are starting to back away a little bit and say, look, come on, we bought this for the cartridges, and they don't seem to be the center of attention, at least this year. So I'm hoping
next year is going to be a big kart year. So I think we're going to have a much larger number of releases and some big titles by all accounts. And I think some of these, based upon some of the conversations I've had with John Crazy Burger, is that the license conversations are happening over years sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And they've got to a point with a couple of very well-known ones where it's just literally fallen down at the last minute when they were just due to sign on the dotted line. So
like EA. Yeah.
But I agree with you, Derek. I think it's great that there's more devices that attract new audiences. I think it just all the support, all the extra marketing, all of the after sales, all of the retail and distribution, all of those are jobs. That, you could have they should have a team just working on alpha, and they don't. They're all trying to work on everything. So I think they're biting off an awful lot there. But I hope it works for them. We're all fans and we want to see success.
Yeah, it'd be great to have this as sort of like the last sort of product for a bit, and then you've got the EXP, they've got the VS, the Super Pocket, and then the alphas, and you've got this nice array of product. Then you've got the TV console, the handheld console. I don't want to call the Super Pockets like a budget end, but for me it is that really, really easy price entrance point, and then you've got something that's a little bit more high end with the arcadey experience with the alpha. So that for me would be a really nice bookend. You got everything from £50 to £250. That's a good playing field. And then, as we've said, sort of maybe next year, I know we keep saying next year should be quite cart heavy, and then let's see what next year brings, because if anything this year has shown us is the carts will come. For years we've always done the what ifs, and this year we've had the what ifs have become the carts. Tomb Raider, we've got the Duke Nukem collection. There's all these huge hitters. There's recently just seen that Demons of Asterberg is going to get a physical release on the PlayStation, but it's been on Evercade for long enough. It's like they got in there first with some of these games, which is fantastic. So I'm really, really hoping that we have another year cart-wise like this year. I think possibly this has been the best year for carts in terms of release as well. It's not been flooded like it has been in the past. There's been some years where it's been uncontrollable. Like I couldn't keep up with half of it, let alone the bits that I actually wanted to keep up with. This year has been much better paced. A couple of carts and then a nice little lull so you can actually enjoy those carts, then start ramping up for some of these other parts. So yeah, I'd love to see a similar pace, possibly even a little bit less pace next year, but again, just with a bigger cart announcement but less of them. I'd be totally up for that. Ryan, did you have anything you wanted to talk about for Media Day?
Yeah, one thing that I saw some pictures of the wood grain Super Pocket, the Atari limited edition, and I didn't think it looked as good as when I saw the pictures when it was announced. I don't know why.
It's not made of wood.
No, I know it's not actually made of wood, but it just didn't look very flattering. I didn't think. I think it's too much wood. If that, oh god, that's what she said.
That's a sound clip. That's going to be a short by the end of the day. Ryan, too much wood.
Clipping that later, Ryan. What's the time on it?
I don't know if you felt that, Phil. It didn't look as nice in
person.
Liked it.
I liked it, to be fair. I thought it did look pretty cool, and it was woody enough for me, my taste. But that might not be enough for somebody else. But I tell you what, the red and black one looks nice. I think there'll be a fair few people wanting both. I think that looks like a nice device. I won't buy both, but I think that looks pretty cool, and there'll obviously be lots of them. And it was quite. I mean, put something on the Hangout the other day. Actually, it's quite interesting that it's for sale on the Atari website as well. So I think that was a bit of a sort of feather in their cap. But yeah, they sold out of that wood grain one very, very quickly. I think there were a few units when we went to see. It sold out the day we were there, and it had only been out a couple of weeks. And I think they've got a few units knocking around in Poland or something. And the numbered carts the numbered devices of the top numbers have been allocated to executives at Atari. So you won't be getting a sexy number.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for a Super Pocket that's going to come out and make me go for it. I think the Taito one is the closest at the moment. If I was going to go for it, purely because, none of those games are really sort of on the Evercade, so that would do it for me.
You've not got the Taito Super Pocket.
No, looking at my carts now, in comparison to people that have got complete cart collections and this kind of thing, I don't have as many. I reckon I've got just under half of all the carts that are available. I've got my VS. I upgraded to an EXP last year. Someone in the Hangout did me a superb deal on they had a spare one, as you do. So I kind of feel like I've got all of my sort of Evercade gaming peripherals, really. The Super Pocket would be purely just to play the Taito games, and I can kind of live without them for the moment. I'd be interested to see if they ever do come forward with a Taito cart. But yeah, the Taito would be the one that would drive me for a Super Pocket at the moment, I think.
They actually gave them to people that attended the media day because I left early. I missed out.
Dude, no.
To a media day, and then they'll give you one. Vaughan Anscombe, who wrote a really good article actually, if you want to have a read of that about the day. He was and he's been a guest of ours. He was negative about Super Pockets. Was always saying how much he didn't like them, and then he picked one up secondhand, where his wife got him one or something, and he loves it now. So, I think they're nice little devices.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't pick one up, but my friend did, and playing it and seeing it, the build quality, the screen, it's worth the money. Without a doubt, it's worth the money. It's there's some other things that I would like to have game wise, I think, over the Super Pocket at the moment, I think. But
yeah, I think you'd only just you were like me, you'd only just picked up the EXP, so it was like you get the Super Pocket within like 2-3 months of actually buying an EXP.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, so it's kind of
but yeah, the next topic I will hand over to Ryan for. This is going to be just ahead of our giveaway, so thank you everyone who is hanging on there to see your name appear in the spinny wheel of death as we approach the fantastic giveaway. So the next topic we have Evercade World Cup Round 3 draw. So this is as voted for on the Hangout, isn't it, Ryan?
Yeah, so we've been running the Evercade World Cup for a number of weeks now, and these are the final 10 who have made it through to round 3. So that will leave us with 5, and I don't really know what I'm going to do at that point, but I'll come up with something to try and even it all out and get a semi-final and final going on. But if I share my wheel then, and we will do the draw. Where are we? I need to make sure I get the right one because I've got 2 wheel generators on the go. So let me know if you can see that.
Oh, there it is.
You can see it?
Yeah, we can see it, man.
Right, can I make that full? Right, so here we go.
So how many are getting picked out of this?
game number 1.
So there's going to be 5 third round games.
Yes.
So look at that. So Xenocrisis Tanglewood will play, and hopefully they will be removed now. So remove them. They will play. It's all very exciting. The suspense is,
Isn't it?
Galco Arcade 2.
Okay. Okay.
So Intellivision 2 are still to be drawn at the moment. Codemasters are the defending champions.
Oh, Full Void, boy.
The Full Void will play.
Oh,
Team
that
17.
that is a toughie.
Oh, that is a tough one.
That is a tough one. There's some big hitters still left though. Elwa's Awakening and Codemasters. I think they're going to be very popular. And Duke Nukem 1 as well.
Oh, okay.
Duke Nukem 1.
What's Duke Nukem going to face up against?
They will face.
Ooh,
Oh,
come on.
Codemasters.
Surely Duke Nukem's just going to annihilate that. Surely.
The power of sensible soccer is very strong in the Hangout.
Oh, good cart. Mega Cats 1.
Who, ironically, they knocked out in Television 2 in the second round. So they could face them again here.
Can you imagine they get drawn again? Ooh.
Oh, that is another toughie.
That is. So that will, let's do the home tyres because that does make a difference. Oh, Television 2 have no luck, do they? So Data East Arcade 1. We'll play in it just to make sure.
Just to make sure that giant Intellivision 2 pie.
Yep. Make sure there's no more balls in the bag like in the FA Cup draws. There we go.
What is this show?
There we go. How exciting was that?
There's some tough decisions there. I can see Derek's face going, "Oh, there's that Team 17 one for me. That was the toughie, I think. What was Team 17 against again?
Oh, I can't. I didn't write them down. I need to go back and watch the clip back. Oh no, it's too much pressure. I thought one of you guys were going to be writing them down, but obviously not. I had the the stress of press, and I've got to press the button again now for the competition.
You do. That you do. Right.
So I'll leave you, Ollie, to introduce it, and I will just open up the wheel.
Okie dokie. So everyone can join in and watch the what was it called? I've just totally gone a mind blank. Honestly, I'm not with it. The World Cup. It's right at the bottom of the screen. It's right there. I could just read that. It's tickering across the bottom. People can go over to the Evercade Hangout and see how the Evercade World Cup is going to continue. Who is going to be the victor? I think everybody has their favorite carts, and we'll just have to see how that runs. So now we come to the point in the show that I think quite a few people have stuck around for. So thank you so much for everyone that has watched along live and is sticking with us for this part here. So we ran a competition over in the Hangout whereby we were giving you a chance to win a Super Pocket of your choice, whether that was a pre-order or whether that was an existing one that was available now. We have, well, I say we, like I've done it. Ryan has collated all of your names onto the spinny wheel of death. And in just a moment, we will click that wheel and hopefully you'll be in the chat. We've agreed that the winner must be in the chat in order to win it. And then we'll give it a minute or so. If you're not in the chat after that minute, we will jump on and spin it again. So if that happens and then you jump on again, I apologize profusely. But them's is the rules, and we're a stickler for the rules.
Yeah, so what I thought we'd do is spin it. If a winner comes up, we'll put a question to the panel, and within that time, if they've not come forward, we'll spin it again. Yep.
Okie dokie then. So, yep, everyone in the chat saying good luck, good luck, good luck. So yes, good luck to everybody. It's so great to see so many names entering in there. Really, really great. Ryan, would you like to do the honors?
A lot of pressure here, so good luck. So I shuffle it first, or should I just spin?
Nah, just spin.
Just
spin. Here we go.
Oh, this is like
look at that, and the winner is.
Oh,
Geshwin Grant. Geshwin, I hope you are in the chat. We'll give it a minute just so you can chuck your name up in there, and we'll see what comes up. So
he's a Retro Titans listener. He's a good egg.
So
MI Tech, he's there.
He is.
Oh, that's me.
There we go. Congratulations. I believe we're normally going to do this by, or does Ryan already know what one you're after?
I don't know. Let us know in the chat which one you're after, and we will.
Inbox you, Ryan.
Yeah, well, I was going to say inbox because I'm not around, am I? After this
No.
for a little while, so he can inbox me, but I probably won't be looking at my phone for a while. But we'll sort it out off air. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, MI Tech, that's me, already clarified. Yep. Okay, cool. We'll tell you what then, buddy. We'll get in touch with us after the show, and we will figure out a way that we're going to get it over to you. So congratulations. I hope you enjoy it when it arrives. Thank you everyone who took part and entered. This absolutely will not be the last time we do a prize giveaway at all. We will be doing many, many more throughout the year. I'm almost certain of it.
It's a Technos one that Geschwin's after, or MI Tech. If he just drops me a message and then there's no immediate rush to get it sent out, is there? Because it's not even out yet. So send me a message and I will pre-order it once I get back in a couple of weeks for you, and I will send you the order details, etc., so you can keep tabs on it.
Beautiful. Okie dokie. So we've now reached the part of the show where we can get to any questions that people may have regarding a particular game. Are you stuck on a game? We generally have the man here who is going to be able to answer those questions. Or if you just have questions in general that you want to ask any member of the panel, we've got a couple that have been starred already. So let's get to the questions before we totter off for the evening, and I can see how House of the Dragon Season 2 finishes. So, first question we have is from Toxo. Off topic, which Olympic event would you and the RGR chat most like to try? For him, it is probably the road time trial cycling. So, Blunners, what Olympic event would you like to try?
Right, so I used to throw discus, play basketball and football, so I wouldn't want to do any of them. I would want to do something absolutely random. I would like to do the velodrome where you go around with all the gear on with this weird helmet.
Yeah.
And you fly around and you're locked in and you go for it. When you fly around there, which we normally clear up, don't we? We normally clear up on the medals on that. So yeah, I'd like to give that a go and hopefully not fall and literally go down the slide on my head. So,
okay.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Velodrome for Blunners.
Yeah.
Ryan, what Olympic event would you most like to try?
I'd like to do the kayak racing, which I was watching this afternoon.
Yeah, that's pretty good actually.
Yeah, the four competing against each other, where they do it's a knockout kayaking course. I quite fancy myself at that.
Okay. Mr. Derek, what Olympic event would you like to try? He's on mute again. Can't hear what you're saying, Derek.
Derek, you're on mute again.
Apologies. Yeah,
that's all right, mate.
Yeah, years ago I used to be a fast runner, so I think I would have liked to have entered into the 100 meters. My time back then wouldn't be as good as nowadays. I think the fastest one was 9 seconds 79. But I think my fastest time was 11 seconds 0.4. So I'd have trailed in quite comfortably. I wouldn't have looked too out of shape. So I'd like to have entered that event.
That's nice. And Phil, what Olympic event would you like to try?
I'll go for something like the pistol shooting. So then you don't have to live like an athlete. You can just kind of, veg out, eat McDonald's, turn up with beer in your hand, like that Turkish guy, and just kind of just
one hand in his pocket.
Yeah. I would have said that just to see if I could look as cool as he did, because he looked slick as fuck, right? He just appeared up and
he's about my age. It's like, how cool's that?
Yeah, slick. None of the eye gear, just a pair of jeans, hand in your pocket. Yeah, that's a cold John Wick if ever you saw one. I'm gonna I can't have that because that's Winter Olympics. But I have always fancied bobsledding. There's a little part of me that would love to try that, or the luge where you just sort of run down on that, dinner tray and you just rocket down that thing as fast as you can. So, yeah, I'd be quite up for a bit of that.
No.
We have got one from Obsolete Worlds. On a serious note, could you maybe get Andrew Braybrook on the show to discuss the plethora of C64 games which he has made which are on the system? I'm sure we could give it a go. I'm sure Phil would probably be more than happy to speak to that. Look at that. He's got a pen and everything. He's ready for this.
Down.
Yeah. There we go. We've answered the question there about the stick placement blocking the screen. Let's scroll down. Okay. One from Mr. Dave Newland. Do any of us own a pinball machine? If anyone was going to own one, I've got a feeling it would be Derek.
Considering he once owned the EastEnders fruit machine. Sure.
Yeah. Here he is, old EastEnders own.
I do keep friends at Sturm Pinball, but yeah, unfortunately, I don't currently have a pinball machine on the premises. So I miss my old house there. Yeah, where we had a snooker table and all that and set up, and like Blunners had a dartboard and all that. Yeah, fruit machines and so on. But
cool.
Unfortunately, I don't have a pinball table currently in the house. But I agree, they're fantastic and lots of fun. So yeah, I do miss encountering them.
Does anyone here have a pinball? I know Crow's just in the chat there.
I'd love to have it. I'd love to have one.
Yeah, Crow's just in the chat there saying he's got a couple. So that's living the dream. Does anyone have a favorite pinball machine?
I used to like Adam's Family. Yeah, that used to be an old favorite of mine.
That's amazing. The movie one.
Yeah, based on whoever the original characters were. Yeah,
I like that. My favorite pinball machine is the Bram Stoker's Dracula one. There's just something about that one that I remember from back in the day. Yeah, they had that at the that arcade place in Southampton for a little bit, and I just remember being stood there for best part of the hour that we had there, just playing that. Youth. Couple of more questions here from Mr. Newland. Still no PS5 Pro yet. What would you say the OG PS5 is lacking? Nothing. I get a real kick out of mine. Could do it being a little bit more powerful so that it's maybe on par with the Xbox Series X, but don't know if anybody else has any lacking parts of a PS5.
No, not really.
No, I like it. This question can be for Ryan, I think. What is the optimal amount of wood?
I don't know what to say to that. I'll have a think and answer it on the next show in a couple of weeks.
So yeah, remember that hashtag Ryan's optimal wood. What is the optimal amount of wood?
Get it trending. Come on.
We can. And last one from Obsolete. Robat says we're getting 2 games in September. That was before the delays. Has one been cancelled? I have no idea. I don't know if Derek has any possible intel on that. I don't know.
Yeah, there'll still be 2 games planned for the end of September. So yeah, they just obviously only announced one, but yeah, they will announce another. So just sit tight.
It's on the way. Happy days. Well, there we have it. We have hit the end of episode 38. We are fast approaching episode 40. That's solid number. I do like a solid number. So episode 40 is on the horizon. Thank you, everyone that's been a part of the show this evening. It's been great to have you on, Phil. Hopefully we can do this again sometime.
Yeah, fun.
As always, Derek, it's wonderful to see you. Blunners in his new location, and Ryan sporting his holiday shirt as he goes off to sun himself for a couple of weeks.
So still come back as white as that, won't he? He'll come back.
Yeah.
Oh, I will. I'm sure I will. You won't even know I've been away. But I was just going to say to MI Tech, who's in the chat, do reach out to me. Obviously, you'll see me in the Hangout. I post a lot in there. Obviously, I set up the competition in there as well. So just send me a DM. It'll probably go into my spam folder, but I should still get notified. But I will keep an eye on it this evening just to touch base with you about ordering your amazing Super Pocket prize.
Beautiful. Thank you, everyone that has joined along in the chat. It's been wonderful to have so many of you in the chat, as always. It's what makes the show, being able to interact with you guys as well. So thank you so much for sticking around. If you are new to the channel, please do consider hitting that subscribe button, because that helps us out a huge amount. We've just literally in the last couple of days surpassed 2,300 subscribers, which is insane. I'm not entirely sure why that many people are watching, four knobheads talk about video games and, weird stories. But there we go. People are doing it, and we appreciate every single one of you. If you are new, yes, do consider hitting that subscribe button, because that helps us out a lot. Give that thumbs up, a little cheeky push as well. That lets us know that you've been here. It lets us know that you've enjoyed the content. And yeah, keep your thoughts coming in the comment section at the bottom. If there's anything we've talked about today that you've got your opinion on, sling it in there. That's what the comments are for. And make sure you head over to the Evercade Hangout on Facebook. It is the fastest growing Evercade group other than the official one. So yeah, head on over there. There's lots of good discussions going on. Everybody's opinion is very, very welcome. The only rule is please don't be a dick, because you will just get booted for being a knobhead. People think differently to each other, and we appreciate that, because that's what makes conversation interesting. But don't be a knob, or you will get booted. But outside of that, it's been an absolute pleasure, gentlemen. And we will see you all next Monday for what is it next Monday? Is it Uncensored?
Uncensored, yeah.
We will be uncensored with, yes, Timmy's Tank round 3. Can the chat beat us? I don't know. We are 2-0 up. We're getting good. We're getting good. So people, get back, watch some of the other Uncensored, see how Timmy's Tanks works, and come join us in the chat. It's going to be a good fun. But yeah, until then, we will see you all on the next episode. So good evening, everyone.
Cheers.